Howdy, one and all. Welcome once again to the wonderful podcast of the two old guys. That's us two in their 50s and 60s talking about the 70s and 80s. Yes, it's the retro show. Al?
And the clock says it's 9 o'clock Central?
The clock says it's 9 o'clock Central.
Just came right on.
10
Hope
o'clock
everyone's doing
Eastern.
well.
And so let's jump straight into it, shall we, folks? Because, these shows need no introduction, and we got a lot of them for today. A lot of them. Let's see. Adam 12. We're getting out. Okay, folks, for those, before I continue with that, I forgot to tell you what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about prime time shows. Not just cop shows, not just detective shows, but that's included. Not just sitcoms, that's included. Not just westerns, that's included. Not just whodunits, not just evening soap operas. Everything and anything, guys. Everything counts. Anything that was a weekly show during the 70s and 80s on prime time, that's what we're mentioning today. So yeah, Adam 12 was I got to be honest, Al, I was a fan of Adam 12, but I haven't seen all the episodes, unlike Dragnet, which I've seen probably every episode a few times. I was a big fan of Dragnet, and I liked the crossovers. But when was it Pete? I don't remember who Pete was. One of the cops on Adam 12. I
think one Adam 12 was a little bit of a more modernized Dragnet. It wasn't so. I want to say 50-ish. It was
right, but it came first, didn't it?
Dragnet?
No, Adam 12.
I thought Dragnet came first.
I always thought that Adam 12 came first, and they made Dragnet after that. But I
could be wrong.
I'd have to research that. But
Dragnet came 52 to 70, and Adam 12 was 68 to 75.
Dragnet was wow. Dragnet did come later. Oh, yeah. Interesting. But Dragnet did take a few of the. Adam 12 came first, right?
No, 52. Dragnet came 52.
Oh, Dragnet was 52.
Yes.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, no, I could have sworn it was the other way around.
52 to 70, and at Adam 12 was 68 to 75. So as Dragnet was finishing up,
right,
Adam 12 kicked in. And that's what I'm saying. Adam 12 to me was a more modern police show. In fact, I probably remember it from being a young a young Cuban refugee boy here. That's probably what I remember the most, because that's when I was watching TV. Trying to learn.
When did you come to this country? At what age?
67. At 7.
Oh,
actually, I was 6 when I came.
Oh, so you were 6 years old when you first came into the. I was. Yes. I mean, I can't remember. I was 2 months old, so I was practically born here. I don't. I never had. I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I guess I would say it's unfortunately, but I never had a youth in a different country. I never had an experience. I've had experiences of different countries. I've traveled all over the world. I haven't had a growing up experience in a different country, like many of my brethren had. Hey, there's good old Russ. Russ, you want me to shoot you a link? You're happy to join it. Happy to have you join us. All right, so let's move on to the Norman Lear things. I mean, we're going in alphabetical order, sort of, but I might as well include most of the stuff from Norman Lear, beginning with All in the Family. I mean, everybody was a fan. It's funny. All in the Family is one of those shows that I used to love watching. My mom was crazy about it. I don't watch it. I can't watch it anymore. There's some shows like Dick Van Dyke I could watch over and over and over. The whole series. I mean, obviously the Star Treks and all these sci-fis, but but All in the Family's not one of them. If it's on, I may watch one or two jokes, and then my short attention span will just move on.
It was, to me, the show to watch, or one of the shows to watch back in the day.
Yeah,
and of course, a lot has changed since that time.
Yeah,
to now. I do remember they did a reboot of one of the episodes, and honestly and truly, it was so fantastic. I can't remember off the top of my head who did it, but I know Jamie Foxx was one of them, and was that? No, he played Jefferson. He played Jefferson.
Yeah,
in it.
Yep.
But
Jamie Foxx played the Jefferson.
Jefferson?
Oh, wow.
The reboot was awesome, and it brought back that nostalgic feeling of the bunkers.
Yeah,
back in the 70s. I mean, it was like wow.
Mitchell is pouring out the Norman Lears out there. It's the Jeffersons, obviously, One Day at a Time. Obviously, I remember Maude as well.
Maude is
there's
awesome.
Maude. Boom, 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 boom. Then there's Enterprise. Right on, Maude. Jeffersons. Let me see. There were a whole pile of Norman Lear shows. Well, at least it seemed like there were, and all of them were groundbreaking, if you will. You know,
I agree.
They were groundbreaking, and they were they very thought provoking and stuff, which may be a reason why. Well, no, I was gonna say which may be a reason why they don't hold up, but they do hold up. Some of them.
And ironically, to me, it was part of Americana. Because, being who I am, that's what I was learning. I was learning,
Good
all
Times,
the family stuff.
Good Times was another one.
Yes.
Wasn't Sanford and Son one of them? I'm not sure. Sanford and Son was a Norman Lear show. All in the Family, Maude, Sanford and Son, One Day at a Time. Definitely Good Times. I don't know. It's just he had. There's a few people like Norman Lear who I grew up watching his stuff. James Brooks is another one. James Brooks's shows. Taxi.
Yeah.
It's just.
That's the first time that I ever was cognizant of Danny DeVito. That was it, right there. Boom, Danny DeVito. That's when I first quote unquote met him.
I mean that man. He's directed Taxi. He's directed a few episodes of The Simpsons. The Simpsons. Mary Tyler Moore Show. That was. I mean, as a director, that was him. And a lot of these shows, but Taxi really stands out every time I see it. Every time I see the end of Taxi, James L. Brooks, as some things are just pop into your head. Taxi's another wonderful sitcom that was prime time there. It's let me go on through our list here. Brings us to the next one on the list is starting with Bewitched, which again will encompass, all of the similar things. I Dream of Jeannie, as much as they hate to hear how they're all, it's all alike. I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched. Those were just.
I often saw I Dream of Jeannie as kind of being not a spin-off, but kind of a spin-off in a sense. Not really a spin-off.
To me, I saw it the other way around.
Really?
I saw I Dream of Jeannie as the original, and I saw Bewitched as the knockoff.
I see it backwards.
The funny part is, now they never changed Nelson's though, but they did change Darren's.
They sure did change Darren's. Yes, they sure did.
Oh my God! And they
sadly they changed Darren's.
And they changed Mrs. Kravitz.
Did they?
I believe Mrs. Kravitz was played by 2, possibly 3 different.
Really?
I'm going to look it up because let's see, Bewitched
Abner.
cast. There we go.
Yeah, why did they change Mrs. Kravitz? Yeah, they did.
Yep,
they did.
Yep, and they it was Alice Pierce and it was Sandra Gould. I Abner. That one's Alice Pierce. That is just Abner. They both are kind of the same, but
in fact, the actress hid from producers towards the end of the show's second season. Pierce passed away from ovarian cancer.
Yes, and that's a very that right there is a lot of the actors. That's one thing when you see in these documentary shows and stuff. When you see the show about Bewitched and their actors, every now and then I watch one of these Then and Now on YouTube. You know, I don't know who puts it together. It's just probably a Chinese company wanting a lot of views on YouTube, whatever. But they show a picture of them as an actress in the show, and then they show them at the most recent one, 2019, 2021, or obviously before they died, if they have died. And when I saw the one for Bewitched, I mean, I would say 75% of the people died of cancer. I know the first Darren died of cancer.
Dick York was definitely the same situation. I mean, he had worsening health, and they had to replace him. He couldn't continue on.
A lot of them died of cancer and stuff. And oh man, but it's so funny because the best part about these shows, say I'll just use Bewitched as an example. The best part about these shows. What were you saying?
I'm sorry, but Darren died from complications of emphysema. Complications of it. Now he might have had it, but
well, the thing I like about these shows, and all of the 70s, is the actors. And this is, I'm going to bring up Love Boat. The actors,
the Love Boat,
would just go in and out. Like for instance, Bernie Kopell, perfect example. He was the apothecary. He was the apothecary on a few episodes, one or two episodes of Bewitched. All right, but Bernie Kopell, I mean, he's the doctor. He's Doc Bricker on the Love Boat. But wait, he's Siegfried on Get Smart.
Yes,
you know. And I mean, you can go on and on and on. Let me see if let me see what they're saying over here. I just wanted to catch up. So yeah, it's incredible. All these people and the Love Boat was renowned for having. I mean, well, that was their thing. The Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Yep.
And what other shows can you think of? I know I'm just jumping all around here, but what other shows can you guys think of that the show was basically a bunch of guest stars on the show?
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live's another one. Yeah, but Saturday Night Live is just like one guest host. That's a little different. These shows were like Fantasy Island. You had 5 or 6 guest stars, if not more, and they all had their little stories. Same thing with the Love Boat. You had 5 or 6 guest stars, and they all had their little stories. And Hollywood Squares.
Oh man.
Match Game. Match Game, you had your regulars. And we will talk about game shows in the future, but specifically game shows. But those two come to mind because those two, like Hollywood Squares, obviously, they're the Hollywood Squares, except for Paul Lynde, who was the regular. Most of the others.
And Paul Lynde was also on Bewitched.
And Paul Lynde was, which is what reminded me of him, because I'm looking at a picture of all the people here. And he had the Paul Lynde show.
Yes.
Way years back. But yeah, there's, it's incredible. And things like, just actors that come to mind. I could sit in an, like the Kevin Bacon thing, the 6 Degrees of Separation. I could watch IMDb and go through a cast list of any show and hook up a bunch of, like, for instance, I'll mention one of them. William Shallert. William Shallert was on Bewitched. William Shallert was probably on, I would say, just about every show. In fact, I'll tell you what. If you remember William Shallert on any of the future shows that we're mentioning, let's say them. But William Shallert, you remember him from Star Trek. He was he was the administrator of K7 of the Trouble with Tribbles. He was the head guy.
The head Tribble master.
No, not the head Tribble. The guy in charge is. I want these Tribbles off my station. That guy. But anyway, I'm just stating one actor of many who just jumped from. Andreas Katsoulis, another one that it's like I've seen him on Columbo, I've seen him on Quincy, and I've seen him on Babylon 5. It's like, these actors that play TV, it's different than now. It just seems a lot different. They all played small little bit parts, but every small bit part was memorable.
Yeah. William Shallert was Undersecretary Nils Barris.
There you go. But let's moving on to Bob Newhart Show. Now the Bob Newhart Show, that was that was another one of my favorite shows. And guess what? I didn't like it when it came out. I didn't like it in the 70s. I was too young to understand it. I watched it, but later in the 80s, when I watched reruns of the Bob Newhart Show,
really?
I fell over laughing. I didn't get his sarcasm. I didn't get his dryness. I didn't get,
Yeah.
But then later on, and I think my favorite thing was the episode of what was it? The last episode of Newhart. Did you ever see the last episode of Newhart?
I think I did, yes.
He was in bed with Joanne, and then he woke up next to Emily, and he said, I'm having the strangest dream.
Yes.
Do you like to wear sweaters? That kind of. It was like, wow.
Yeah, that was an awesome
There was
moment.
another show. There was another show that did that, and I forgot what episode it was. It was, I believe it was Patrick Duffy that woke up. I don't remember the show. Somebody out there refresh my memory. Let's continue. Let's what's that?
Didn't All in the Family kind of end kind of similarly, but on a down note? I think was it with Archie passing away or Edith passing away?
Edith passed away. No, but Edith passed away, and then Archie went on to Archie Bunker's place.
Okay, yeah, it was that way, exactly, or else it would have been the ghost of Archie Bunker's place.
yeah, exactly.
Going back to the Bob Newhart show.
Let me drop in here. Mitchell mentioned the Beverly Hillbillies. We'll get to Beverly Hillbillies and Gilligan's Island in a second. Let's see. Patty Duke's dad, Russ Meadows, said, "It was William Shallert, Patty Duke's dad." Yeah, it's now I'm going to find out.
I don't see him. I'm looking at William Shallert on Wikipedia. What better resource as a educator?
Yep.
Maybe this is the wrong William Shallert.
I will. I'm looking at him right here. Hang on a second.
No, this William Shallert is an American government official who served as a diplomat.
That's the wrong guy. Okay, so this William Shallert, I'm still scrolling through his list. That's how long it is, because I have always loved that actor. Okay, let us begin with Well, Fireside Theater in 51. And in fact, I'll continue on this list for the moment, and then we'll go back to our main list. Because a lot of these things are now, Space Patrol, Rose of Cimarron, all of those are before our time. Singing in the Rain, Reba. Let me get to some good ones because it's incredible. It's just, I'm still in the 50s.
I'm still stuck on the Newhart Show. Hello, this is my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
Yeah. Those are great. Those are great things. I'm up to 56. This guy was incredible. He has never stopped working. The man is an animal. 58, and I've gone 3 pages. I'm only on 58. Okay. Now we're beginning the 60s. Let's start with the 60s. Philip Marlowe. It's a little too Jack Benny program. Sea Hunt. He was in Sea Hunt. I never knew he was in Sea Hunt. Then again, some of those shows. Bat Masterson, U.S. Marshal, The Untouchables, Zane Grey Theater, Checkmate, The Rifleman. 3 episodes of The Rifleman, completely different characters. This guy was an incredible character actor. The Andy Griffith Show, The Rebel, 57, Surfside 6. And now we're getting to 61. It's like Dick Van Dyke Show. He was Reverend Kirk in the Dick Van Dyke Show. Yeah, I remember that. One. Perry Mason. He was in 3 different episodes of Perry Mason. Many Loves of Dobie. There it is.
Dobie Gillis.
Dobie Gillis is one of the first ones I remember. That's Mr. Leander Pomfret. That's probably the earliest show. I have seen the Dick Van Dyke Show of Perry Mason, but
and who is
as a regular watcher, that's probably the first time I've seen him. What?
And who is Dobie Gillis?
None other than Bob Denver.
Exactly.
Gotta love it. Let's see, Lassie, Death Valley Days. Okay, now we're gonna get into the good stuff.
Gilligan.
Rawhide. Sure enough, the Patty Duke Show. Martin Lane, Kenneth Lane, Uncle Jed Lane. The Patty Duke Show. That is so funny. Let's see, Pistols.
Russ is saying bet me.
Yeah, there you go. It's Mission Impossible. No, that's when he said it, I go, oh my God. And my mind already filled his face in there because it's been about maybe 15, 20 years since I've seen the Patty Duke Show. I used to watch it regularly back in the 1990s. But I can't remember after that one. Mission Impossible. There's another primetime show for you guys.
Oh man, that one was just laden with actors.
The actors in that show is just incredible. Let's see obviously he was Niels Barris, as you said, on Star Trek. He was in the Carol Burnett Show 3 or 4 times. He was in the Wild Wild West 4 times. Speaking of Wild Wild West, there's another great show that I watched in my youth.
Very, very much so.
I remember vividly my brother and I staying up late so we could watch it and guess what the next freeze frame cartoon was.
Yeah, the next quarter freeze frame. Yeah.
It was just so cool. Dun 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 bum 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 bum. Dr. Miguelito Loveless. Who did Victor Bono play? He played some big Egyptian guy. What was his name on the Wild Wild West? It'll come to me. Mod Squad. I wasn't big on Mod Squad. Was another one around the Dragnet days. It's not too.
He was King Tut on Batman.
Yes, that's where I remember him from.
Yes,
Mr. Big. He was Mr. That. Thank you for telling me about King Tut because somehow my neurons got crossed, and I placed him as an Egyptian in Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
And nothing could be further from the truth.
It was
it was Mr. Big that he played.
Yeah, exactly.
Victor Bono. Victor Bono once I remember watching the Dr. Demento show, and Victor Bono made a
Fish heads, fish heads, roly poly fish heads.
Made a said a poem once, and he played it. It was a poem by Victor Bono, and it was a short poem. You are what you eat, said a large man. If this is true, I am a garbage can. No, I'm sorry. You are what you eat, said a wise man. I was just thinking of large man because Victor Bono he was big in every sense of the word. Very, very big. Good actor. Good actor. Let's see.
Artemis Gordon was Ross Martin.
Ross Martin.
Yeah.
Ross Martin from Wild Wild West. Ross Martin.
Yeah, Artemis Gordon, right? Isn't that Wild West?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Gordon? Yes.
Yeah. He was Artemis Gordon. I'm sorry. You said Artemis Gordon, and see, this is what happens when you stay up too late. Mm-hmm. My mind connected the wrong neurons again, and Commissioner Gordon, because a second ago you were talking about Batman and Victor Bono. So when you said Gordon, the first thing in my mind was the wrong Gordon. Get Smart. He played William Shallard again in Get Smart. William Shallard in Hawaii Five-0, The Partridge Family, Funny Face, Man in the City, The FBI. I'm doing the big ones. Banachek. I love Banachek. Banachek was so good. Do you ever watch Banachek?
Banachek.
For
some reason, I'm thinking Horshack, or not Horshack.
No.
That's Welcome Back, Hunter, but the Night Stalker.
No. You're thinking of Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
Kolchak.
This is Banachek. This was a Polish undercover. It was kind of an equalizer type. It was George Peppard. George Peppard played Banachek. And he always had a famous Polish quote because he was Polish, and he always solved people's problems in that pre-A-Team sort of way. But anyway, he was in the Kung Fu again. We're continuing with William Shallard because I just
Now that I see his face, I remember Banachek. Yes, of course.
Banachek? Yeah, with the short little. See, the thing about Banachek, George Peppard had a different hairstyle in A-Team, but he had a short little.
Raggedy.
A raggedy bowl.
Yeah.
Ironside, Gunsmoke. I mean, I'm just rattling off Love American Style. This band, and I'm skipping.
Love American.
I am skipping a bunch of TV series. $6 Million Man, Barnaby Jones, The Manhunter, Love American Style. He played in The Strongest Man in the World, and which was a Disney film. He played Professor Quigley. He played a lot of different big parts in Disney shows as well. Bionic Woman, he was in also. We're getting through the 70s, so I think I'll stop I'll stop at 1990, but
1990. Yes, folks, from the 70s and the 80s, and sometimes even
Nancy Walker, the Hardy Boys, One Day at a Time, Little Women, Grandpa Goes to Washington, This is the Life, Dinky Dog, Apple Pie, The Legend of the Superheroes. I'm skipping a bunch. Archie Bunker's Place. He was in Archie Bunker's Place. Edith Gets Hired. Dr. Wakeford. So Edith was still around with Archie Bunker's Place, but because they had a divorce, and then I stopped watching it after the divorce. I'm not big on divorces, but Misadventures of Sheriff Logo. He was in a few episodes of The Waltons, Magnum PI, Twilight Zone, Gremlins. He was Father Bartlett in Gremlins. Pink Panther and Son. Goodness gracious. The Paper Chase. I did not know he was in The Paper Chase. I love The Paper Chase. See, there's a classic. Have you ever seen The Paper Chase, Al?
No, I haven't. I have not seen the Paper Chase, at least that I remember.
The Paper Chase was with I don't know if you know what it was, but it was with John Houseman, and he was a law professor. Well, they actually had a movie, The Paper Chase, with John Houseman, and then they had The Paper Chase, and I got hooked on that. It was only 4 years long, or 3 or 4 years long, but it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I just loved it. It was about this kid always trying to prove himself to John Houseman, and he was the best lawyer, but John Houseman pushed him even further. And I'm not big on. I want to say I'm not big on legal shows, because most legal shows I'm not big on, but that one, I would say I'd have to rank in the top between that show and more recently Boston Legal and Suits. Yeah. Those 3 shows, I have never liked a show more than those shows. I mean,
I have watched it, but I can't really remember it too much, because the same thing. It wasn't my bag. It just or my stack of papers in this case.
Simon and Simon, there's another one.
Yeah, kind of a detective show, right?
Yep. Highway to Heaven, Matlock. I mean, Matlock, again, I'm skipping 3 or 4 for everyone I mentioned. This guy, William Shallert, was incredible.
Did we talk about Sanford and Son?
We mentioned that it was a Norman Lear show.
Okay.
But yeah.
Because Sanford and Son was an awesome show too.
Yep. William Shallert again. Quantum Leap. Murphy Brown. I could do a whole show on William Shallert. I really could.
Oh, Quantum Leap. Oh, I love Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap was great. Yeah. I'm a fan, but he also played Varani in Deep Space Nine episode in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I mean, this guy, Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman, Dream On. He was in Dream On. Goodness gracious. The Patty Duke Show, still rocking in Brooklyn Heights, the movie, 1999. Wow. See, we're only up to 99. And this guy has, I can't tell you how many. Well, I could tell you in a second how many credits to his name. He was Green Lantern's Appa Apsa's voice.
And I think we talked about this.
Yep. William Shallert passed away at age 93 in 2016, and he has had 386 parts.
Wow.
So I mean that's an actor's actor. Well, it's an actor anyway.
Yeah.
Go on. You were saying something?
No, it made me think of Room 222, because I saw a show called 227, and it made me think of
227, and then Room 222.
Yeah,
and of course, so now getting back to Beverly Hillbillies, we can move on to things like Gilligan's Island, and those kind of things reminded me of always of the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family. Those were the true primetime shows of the like late 60s, early 70s, the early 70s. That's I mean, the Brady Bunch. I wasn't into the Partridge Family that much.
Oh, I loved the Partridge Family
until later, but I was really heavy duty into the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, and I like the Brady Bunch just as much. As much.
Yep. Charlie's Angels, folks. You guys remember Charlie's Angels?
Which version of it? The original?
The original 76 to 83. Yep. Yeah. Kate Jack. Yeah, that's the thing. Charlie's Angels has something in common with Three's Company. And that is that the change in star. I mean, the turnover. Now, it lasted a number of years. Well, actually, it only lasted 5 years, Charlie's Angels. And in those 5 years, it was originally Farrah Fawcett, Kate Jackson, and Jacqueline Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Those are Charlie's Angels to me.
Exactly, same thing. I agree.
And everybody else, same thing with Suzanne Summers and Suzanne Plachette. Not Plachette. Oh my God, my mind went blank. What's Janet's name? My mind went blank. DeWitt, Joyce DeWitt. I knew it was a J. Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers, along with obviously John Ritter, the late great John Ritter. That man was incredible. Who also was the voice of the Clifford, the Big Red Dog.
Yes.
But those three are Three's Company to me. Now, granted, was it Sissy or Cindy? The new one, Cindy, and then there was this other. I mean, there were a couple other future. Yeah, they were gorgeous. They were good actresses, and the show went on. But basically, those three originals, along with the guy that played Larry, can't remember his name, and obviously Norman Fell and
Roper.
Norman Fell as Roper, and then of course, who could forget Mr. Furley? There is
Don Knotts, the nervous guy.
Nobody is funnier than Don Knotts.
Don Knotts was talking about how he was asked to do a skit, and what he did was the Nervous Man, which is his usual Andy, and that right there is what made him. What just kind of just started it all off.
Incredible. And Dan came up with Diana Muldaur, who played Dr. Catherine Pulaski. Check out her. Oh, Diana Muldaur also has this enormous IMDb page. I'll look that up in a bit. Let's see. We're only on the C's on our main page, but we've mentioned a lot of these already. Chips we've mentioned along with the other. Now, along with Chips,
California Highway.
You had the obviously Mitchell mentioned Miami Vice, a little bit different time frame. Right? Huh?
That was her favorite, right?
I believe it was her favorite.
She said, "Give me Miami Vice."
Oh, yep. And then Chips, you got T.J. Hooker. What other cop shows do you remember?
T.J. Hooker,
besides Adam 12.
What favorite? What was the star of T.J. Hooker?
I know. T.J. Hooker, William Shatner, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to remember any other cop shows during the 70s and 80s. I mean, now there were the detective shows, Mannix, Barnaby Jones, and Barnaby Jones was mentioned. I think Frankie mentioned Barnaby Jones, Mannix, Cannon. Obviously, Perry Mason was a little earlier, but
Columbo,
definitely Columbo, McLeod, McMillan and Wife.
Oh yeah,
all those were prime time. Those were prime time once a week. Many of those. Barnaby Jones was actually they all were once a week, but Barnaby Jones later became Hawaii Five-0 became regulars. Weekday shows. The reruns were on weekdays. But yeah, most of those were okay. You know what it is? Barnaby Jones and Mannix and those type of shows were on weekdays prime time, if I remember correctly. Columbo was on a weekend, and so was McLeod. They were on weekends prime time. It was really strange. But they were, certain shows were on during the week, and certain shows were on during the weekend. It was really weird. Let's see. I'm
gonna mention these and see if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Strike Force, McLean's Law, Magruder and Loud, Hollywood Beat,
Nope.
The Last Precinct,
Nope.
Heart of the City, O'Hara. Remember O'Hara?
Nope.
O'Hara had what's his name from Happy Days? Al Chu, right? No? What's her name?
What? Big Al? What? Who?
Big Al. Yeah. What's her?
I'm drawing.
Oh, Pat Morita. Pat Morita. I'm sorry.
Oh, Pat Morita. Then.
Pat Morita. Pat Morita.
Oh, that was O'Hara. I don't remember.
That was O'Hara. That was O'Hara. Crime Story.
Policewoman, police story.
Hooperman. Do you remember Hooperman?
Hooperman. Nope.
You know who was in Hooperman?
Who was in
John
Hooperman?
Ritter.
Really?
Yes, John Ritter.
If I ever saw it, it's probably in those brain cells that I've
2
forgotten.
years. 2 years. It was those brain cells that you were abusing the Cuban coffee.
Yep, there you go.
The Hooperman.
Oh, yeah.
The oldest rookie. Don't remember that one either, do you?
Don't remember any of these.
I certainly don't.
These are from 70's and 80's.
70's and 80's. 87 to 80, yes.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Moving on, we got Dallas. Now I watched Dallas. I wasn't big on the whole soap opera craze of Knots Landing.
Yeah.
What was the other? Falcon's Crest. What were the others?
I didn't watch them. I pretty much just kind of turned the TV off.
Oh, you were the one.
Yes, it was me.
I watched Dallas. I didn't get into
that's
any
why
of
they.
it.
That's
I
why
don't
they
know
failed.
why or how I got into Dallas, but boy, did I get hooked.
Yeah,
it was
and I probably watched Dallas the most, but I was disappointed that Major Nelson was
Dynasty
was nasty dude,
Yeah. And then General Hospital we'll get to in another chat, Dan, because that's not prime time. Close, but let's see. Different Strokes.
Yeah, Different Strokes.
That's all those shows. They're Facts of Life. Different
What you talking about, Willis?
Yep. Oh my God, that was so freaking popular for so long, and then then people forget. We talked about that Dragnet. Dukes of Hazzard. There's another good one.
Yeah. Dukes of Hazzard was.
Those.
I watched it a lot. Actually, my uncle watched
Dukes.
it, and we watched it along with him.
We've mentioned Facts of Life. Get Smart. Oh, Gomer Pyle. There's one I mean, it's really the 60s, so it's just before, but Gomer Pyle cut it. Good Times, obviously. Green Acres.
Gomer Pyle was in 70's?
Gomer Pyle ended in 69.
Really?
Yep. Oddly enough.
Wow.
But it was colorized. I mean, it was colored. Green Acres, classic, just made the list and ended in 71. Gunsmoke. I was surprised by this when you told me. Gunsmoke ended in 75. Mm-hmm. Never would have guessed it. All the Gunsmoke episodes I have seen, well, most of them are in black and white. And the ones that aren't, I would have guessed they were late 60s. Happy Days we talked about. Hawaii Five-0. Hogan's Heroes. One of my favorites.
Oh, I love
one of my all-time. I've got all the Hogan's Heroes, and I watch them with my wife every now and then. Honeymooners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now there's another one. I can't believe it ended in 71.
Honeymooners?
The Honeymooners ended in 71. When I think of the Honeymooners, I think of the 50s, not 70s.
Probably because it was in black and white.
Because it started in 55.
Yeah.
The last 6 years were, I don't know if they were colorized or not, but I think they were always black and white. Who knows? I Dream of Jeannie we spoke about. The Jeffersons, Knots Landing. Lassie, there's one we haven't mentioned. Lassie. And, of course, Flipper. Because for me, in Miami at least, it was Lassie, then it was Flipper, or it was Flipper, then it was Lassie. I don't know what it was about those two shows. They were like one after the other one.
Yeah, it was. They were like, yep.
And when I think of Lassie, every time I mention Lassie to my mom, she tells me a story of how she used to watch Rin Tin Tin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was, way back. But Laverne and Shirley, there's another one. We could go on and on about, as we always do, about the Happy Days spin-offs, like Laverne and Shirley, Joni Loves Chachi,
Rhoda,
Mork and Mindy, Rhoda, Phyllis. No, Rhoda and Phyllis are are the Mary Tyler Moore spinoffs.
Oh, that's right. They are. Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, it's so Happy Days would be let's see. Joni Loves Chachi.
Right.
Well, there are also other things like More Happy Days and stuff like that, but that doesn't really count, you know.
I think it's because they had some intertwining, didn't they? Weren't there some references of one to the other?
No. What happens is that Happy Days started so many spin-offs, and so did Mary Tyler Moore. Mary Tyler Moore started Lou Grant, Phyllis, Rhoda, The Betty White Show.
And the Betty White Show led to what? See, I kind of think of the Betty White Show going to not to Maude, but to Golden Girls, or did it not? Or is it just that Betty White was in Golden Girls?
Betty White was in Golden Girls, and that also had nothing to do with the earlier ones. You know, but it's just that again, this brings me back to every one of these actors are so. I mean, if you were to make a map and basically include every series that any actor in Love Boat or Fantasy Island has been in,
it would just cross over in itself like that.
You would have this entire list.
Yeah.
Heck, you just saw me read off pretty much half this list with William Shallert.
Yep.
You know, speaking of the Love Boat's next on the list. Marcus Welby, MD, Mary Tyler Moore Show we mentioned, and of course my all-time number one favorite. It's between these three shows. It's between Hogan's Heroes. Dick Van Dyke's 4 shows. Dick Van Dyke, Hogan's Heroes, Green Acres, and MASH. And I would have to say
that's hard. That's really hard.
MASH is probably the one.
I think it has to be MASH.
And I will put those shows, and you'll balk at this. You will balk at this, but I will put those shows, my favorite shows, over any of my favorite Star Trek shows. Because
totally different.
Yeah, because
it totally different universe.
It is. But if you were to say in our world, in our 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 10, in everything from in TV history, what are your favorite all-time favorite for you, personal all-time favorite series that you can watch over and over and over and over and over?
Star Trek.
While I can watch Star Trek over and over.
And see, not just
number one for me would be MASH.
All Star Treks.
I could watch MASH over and over. I could watch Hogan's Heroes over and over, and I do on a regular basis.
And I
Green Acres, and Get Smart. I'll watch. I can watch the whole series, but then I got to take a break, and then
I have to add to that list though the Stargate series. As far as Star Trek goes, Stargate SG-1. I've been watching Stargate SG-1 for months now. Oh yeah, it is. And there's like 10 seasons. I can't remember how many seasons are on. I'm like on season 6. I've been watching for months. And then I'm going to go to Stargate Atlantis,
and then SG.
Yeah, I mean it just
Okay, we mentioned Maude. We mentioned Mission Impossible. We mentioned Mork and Mindy. The Muppet Show.
Oh man,
that is by far. I mean, I got caught in a rabbit hole very, very recently, about 4 or 5 months ago. I really, really got into watching all of the documentaries on Jim Henson and his life and all this, because the man is to be admired. The group of people that are those 6 or 7 and their entourage that are the Muppets. They are the Muppet Show. There's nobody else that is the Muppet. They are including the second Kermit, not the now Kermit. Although the now Kermit, I will say, is nothing against them.
Russ is mentioning Farscape, and guess what? What was in Farscape? And again, an awesome sci-fi show.
In Farscape, Claudia Black. What?
Well, yeah, Claudia Black, Virginia Hay, but
Yeah.
what about that little Imperial guy?
A Muppet. Yeah.
A
Jim
Muppet.
Henson. Jim
Yes.
Henson Productions.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Absolutely. They even made them their way into science fiction.
Oh no. Willow and no. They on and on and on. But the Muppets themselves, I mean, are just completely classic. And I'll say this. Sesame Street. Well, no, that's public television.
Well,
we mentioned that before. It's not prime time, so it doesn't fall into this categories.
But Sesame Street Muppets are not just for kids, folks, and that's the point I'm trying to drive.
They never were.
They're for adults. Yep. Also,
My Three Sons. There's another one that I never would have guessed went into 72.
I know. I thought it was a 60s show.
The Odd Couple. There's another one.
Oh my goodness. Oscar and Felix. Oh my God. Oscar! Do you know what happens when you assume Oscar?
The Partridge Family. I think, the rest of these, I think I'm going to start singing the theme songs because with the Partridge. You know what? There's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy. The Partridge Family theme song. And then Petticoat Junction. And there's Uncle Joe. He's a moving kind of slow at the junction. Petticoat Junction. There's another one that I mean, see, I don't enjoy Petticoat Junction as much as I do Green Acres, but
you know what? I knew them. See, in my mind, they blend in together, right?
Well,
tell me that one doesn't blend.
They do. They do because Green Acres came out of Petticoat Junction.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let me see, or was it the other way around? My mind is going. No, it is correct. Petticoat Junction started first, and then Green Acres was sort of a spinoff. It happened in the same. There were crossovers. Sanford and Son.
I remember Fred Sanford. Oh.
Yep.
And I can't remember what he said, but it was like,
Elizabeth, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I'm coming. Elizabeth.
All right. Taxi. Come and knock on our door. Three's Company. Mention that one. The Waltons. It's so funny about the Waltons. You know what I remember about? I have probably never seen a full episode ever of the Waltons. I know how popular it is. I know how fair. I have never seen a full episode of it.
Used to watch it all the time.
I grew up from 1970 with kindergarten to 71 kindergarten through 1979 8th grade. I was in a Catholic high school, 11 nuns from the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth. Every single one of them, they would, and they mentioned it, to us in passing. I was one of the teacher's pets, so they talk a lot to me. They all would watch the Waltons. The Waltons and the Little House on the Prairie were two of the shows that they gave themselves pass to watch. It was a very strict sect and
one word, wholesome.
They were wholesome shows.
Wholesome.
They were wholesome shows. Welcome back, Cotter. Welcome back. Yep. There's another one. We haven't mentioned Horseshack.
Mr. Cotter.
No, that's Three's Company. Hang on, let me think of something. If you've ever wondered whatever happened to me. I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP. Yeah, there's no more time for packing and unpacking. Town to town, up and down the dial. Baby, you and me were never meant to be. Maybe think of me once in a while.
That show
I'm at WKRP in Cincinnati. Great show, great show. That was, and again, I will mention it because, and I mentioned it before, it bears mentioning again. My favorite episode of that show has got to be
the turkey drop.
a turkey drop.
Guessed it.
When Les Nessman drops turkeys for a Thanksgiving Day promotion.
Yes.
And he goes, and now we're gonna drop the turkeys. And now they're gonna drop the turkeys. And he was down reporting.
Yes.
Oh, the horror! They're crashing through windshield.
Like the Hindenburg crashing. The humanity.
That was just the humanity. It was just I gotta see that
for the love of God. I truly thought that turkeys could fly.
Yep, absolutely. Let's see what else we got.
Carlton swears that they could fly.
We got a few here that are not on our list from our wonderful people here. Let's see. Chopper 1.
Yeah,
Chopper.
It was a one season half-hour show, and I think it was kind of firefighter related, something like that.
Grady. Wait a second. I seem to remember. Am I just like making stuff up in my head, or was there a show called Grady?
I think
after
there was.
Sanford and Son.
I think yes. I think there was a show called Grady.
Yeah, featuring Grady, obviously. St. Elmo's Fire, obviously. Mitchell.
Or was there?
NYPD. And
was there?
Oh, here's another one that they missed here in the thing, and it's one of my favorites. Emergency.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned it before. I'll mention it again.
Yes, Grady did exist.
Excellent.
Sitcom.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was a spinoff of Sanford and Son.
Yep.
One season. That's all they got.
Incredible.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just so cool. I mean, there were so many, and then you got other shows like, obviously, you got the A-Team, you got 21 Jump Street, and then now we're getting more into the 80s. But you got Alf, Alf, Bosom Buddies, Tom Hanks in Bosom Buddies.
Yeah, I remember Airwolf. Remember Airwolf?
And Airwolf. Airwolf is another one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Cagney and Lacey.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
That was a nice police show.
Cheers started in ’82.
Oh, Cheers is a classic, though.
It's a classic.
It's
a classic. Cosby Show. That was a fantastic show for a while. For quite a while.
In fact, the whole time that it went on, it was a great show.
You remember
things came up, but
you remember the show Dear John? I never watched much of it, but it was with Judd Hirsch.
No, I don't.
It was a short-lived 3 or 4. Doogie Howser. I'd never seen Doogie Howser.
Doogie Howser was also great. Oh man, Doogie Howser was fantastic.
Family Matters was funny. Family Ties was even funnier. Michael J. Fox in Family Ties, and there's another one, the father on Family Ties. I forgot his name. He's played a lot of little bit parts. I mean, it's so funny because my kids look at a lot of these shows, and I'm recognizing as older people now all the character actors that had bit parts. For instance, let me see, who was it the other day? They were watching, of all things, SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
And I heard two very, very distinct voices. One of them was Tim Conway's voice.
Really?
I know Tim Conway's voice. And sure enough, it was Tim Conway's voice.
From McHale's Navy fame. Well, from a lot of fame. But...
And again, from McHale's Ernest Borgnine.
Yes.
Ernest Borgnine's voice on SpongeBob, and he's been a few episodes. He's been on in a few episodes. He was in the SpongeBob movie. So was Tim Conway. It's incredible. Greatest American Hero.
Talented people.
Greatest American Hero. There's another one. Growing Pains. It's funny. I wasn't much on. Was Saved by the Bell 80s or was it 90s? It might have started late 80s. Saved by the Bell.
I think it was 70s. I think it was 70s.
It might have 70. Really, that early? I don't think it was 70.
Yeah, because I almost remember being in high school. No, 89 to 93.
89 to 93.
Wow, I wasn't in high school.
All right, it just made the cut. But the funny part is, there was a new show called. Oh no, is that the show I'm thinking of? There's a show. Oh no, which is the one with Ricky Schroeder in it? Silver Spoon. No, yeah, that's Silver Spoon. There was another one, not Ricky Schroeder. God, what was his name? Well, there was one of those shows with Tapagna. I don't know if that's the actress's name or the character's name. All I know is she is incredibly gorgeous then as a kid and now. 10 years younger, 20 years younger than us, whatever. But the memorable people in that show. Who was it? Maybe it is Saved by the Bell. The New Class. Oh man. Somebody out there remind me. Tapana? Silver Spoons. No, is it Silver Spoons? Topanga.
I don't know.
Topanga and Silver Spoons. There was a show that they redid in the 2000s or 2010s, and it was a reboot. But it was everybody from that class grown up, and now they have kids in the same high school.
Was it Saved by the Bell 2?
I don't think so, because I remember Screech being in it, and he wasn't in it, so it wasn't. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. But it'll come to me. It'll come to me. Hill Street Blues is another one. L.A. Law. How about what's the other one? What's the one with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd?
Oh my God! Had you not said that?
What?
Had you not said it, I would have been able to tell you.
It's oh God, it's 30-something? No, 30. Is it 30-something? No, Moonlighting.
Yeah, Moonlighting. I think
Moonlighting. There you go.
I think it is Moonlighting.
It's so funny. I know about these shows. I've never seen an episode of Moonlighting.
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
And there's another thing that was popular. Well, because of the way TV was back then. I would know all these shows. I know all these shows just from the commercials. Just from this week on Moonlighting, this happens, and you see a little snippet. Right. It's like watching Fab, I'm glad. It's like watching a regular jingle commercial.
Yep.
Married with Children. There's another good one.
Don't squeeze the Charmin, Mr. Whipple says.
Yeah. We'll get into commercials. Yeah. That'll be another one. Mr. Belvedere, Murphy Brown.
Yeah.
That was a great show. My Two Dads. Oh, here's one of my favorites that I missed. Night Court.
Oh man. Night Court was also a classic.
That's one that I wish would never have gone away.
Yeah.
Especially when Brent Spiner was in it. I mean, Oh God, those episodes were just I lose it. And Yakov Smirnoff and Perfect Strangers. I used to watch that one every now and then.
Right.
Roseanne. I wasn't a big fan of Roseanne. However, now they play it so often that I can't help but, watch the show every now and then. I'm just not a fan.
It's really funny though.
What's that?
Night Court was really funny.
Nightcore was just...
Harry Anderson did such a great job in that show.
And Seinfeld just started in '89, so that just basically barely made the list. But Silver Spoons we mentioned, Small Wonder. Let's see, Webster.
Yeah.
Ooh, who's the boss?
That's right.
With Tony Danza and what's her face? Yeah.
What's her face?
I don't know her name. And last on this list for the '80s is The Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years. Oh my goodness! You know, when you were saying Doogie Howser a little while ago, I kept thinking The Wonder Years, and I keep thinking of that little young guy and stuff. But that wasn't. It was. I know Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
But I was thinking of The Wonder Years, and I couldn't remember what the name of the show was. But The Wonder Years.
The Wonder Years with of course the child from The Princess Bride.
Ooh, The Princess Bride.
Fred Savage. Yeah, all this crazy, ridiculous trivia that we know in our heads. It's just, Hey, there's another one. And Mitchell mentioned Mary Hartman.
Oh, yes.
Mary Hartman.
Mary Hartman.
And now that she mentioned Mary Hartman, of course, Heart to Heart came to mind.
Yes. With
Stephanie Powers. I had such a crush on Stephanie Powers when she was in the $6 Million Man as the alien in the mountain with the Bigfoot and the Sasquatch and all that. Good times. Knight Rider Knight Rider was during that time, wasn't it? Also, yeah, I think it was.
Do you remember the show called Soap?
Oh yes. Who could not for who? That show
was something else. That show had Billy Crystal in it. Oh my goodness!
Last week on Soap.
Yeah.
And the part that stunk was it didn't end. I hate shows that don't have an ending. Can't stand them. The funny part is, I'll tell you this right now. If a conglomerate, a production company wants to make money from a show, this is my only advice to them. End the damn thing.
Give it an ending.
Yeah. Look, there are so many shows that I would watch, except since I know they're not going to end, I refuse to start them. I've seen them, and then they stop dead in the middle because they didn't like the show. I mean, the somebody in the upper echelon said, "Well, we're canceling you." Well, look, cancel them with an end show. What's so hard about that? They can make a hell of a lot more money, and I'm talking millions to billions of dollars in syndication, because people like me, and probably like many of us, would watch a show if it was a decent show.
Yeah.
I don't care, okay. Oh, hey, I'm a network executive. I made a mistake. I canceled the show. But at least I was smart enough to end the show. So now I'm making tons of money, or at least the company is.
But they can always be undone. Look at The Search for Spock. They killed Spock in one movie. They brought him back in the other. Okay.
Yeah,
they could do it. They could bring stuff back. Stargate, they did the same thing. Not O'Neill, but
but the problem
Daniel, they killed him. He ascended. He came back.
Yeah, but the problem is the middle ground. See, what happens is, if you have a lot of interest in the story, they'll bring it back and they'll redo. I mean, Star Trek basically ended. Third seasons, but they were all individual episodes. If they would have had a an arc, and it would have stopped, oh my God, there'd be even. But the fact that they had such a large fan base that
they did,
that they would continue it. However, and if you've got no fan base whatsoever, it wouldn't even go into syndication. But some do. But in the middle ground, what happens to those shows like Night Court that they cancel and it winds down, but there's no resolution. There's no conclusion.
Yeah.
You know, all those shows. You know, luckily Seinfeld. I applaud Jerry Seinfeld to the ends of the earth, because the man not only went out on top, but he went out on top with a fantastically closing show. I mean, he did everything the right way. I don't know if it was his decision. I'm just assuming it was, but I'll tell you what, that show is on, which is why it's seen so often now.
Yeah, it is.
Because somewhere in the back of your mind, Star Trek, I watch DS9 and Voyager over and over and over, and even Next Generation. Why? You got all good things terminating TNG. You've got
Voyager ended too. I mean, they had a good.
Voyager ended with Oh, What You Leave Behind is the other one, is Voyager, I believe. No, is Deep Space Nine, and then Voyager had.
Well, oh didn't Janeway come back and they made it back home?
Yeah, they made it back
from the Delta Quadrant. Yeah,
that was the end.
There was one show that I have to disagree with what you're saying. One show that they ended, and they just pummeled it into the ground, and that show was Firefly, and that show still has a following even to this day, even though it didn't have a lot of episodes. That show,
Firefly's a show. Yeah,
something about it.
Firefly's a show that I guarantee you, it's on the upper of the interest. Some intelligent executive producer, which there are very, very few left in the sci-fi world. You know, they're all going for the big bucks in superhero movies, which is great because I love superhero movies. But somebody will eventually go, "Hey, we got a pretty huge fan base," kind of like what CBS is doing with all the Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Discovery. I mean, they're going crazy.
Those are spin-offs, I think.
Yeah, they're capitalizing on it, but somebody's going to eventually get a brainstorm and capitalize on Firefly and redo the ending or continue the ending and fix it.
Hey, there is something in the works. Serenity might fly again.
Stargate's another one. Another one that it needs either a reboot or a continuation, because Stargate Universe, whatever idiot that put that on the air decided to be like Battlestar Galactica, and
a new Stargate is also in the works too. So,
but we will be talking about these things and more in 3 weeks' time, because we will be back to talk about. Here's the beautiful part. Now I've got my finger on the button, and next week, not the following week, because I will be out for 2 weeks. So will Al. But the one after that, we will be talking Star Trek versus Star Wars, and of course, that's just I'll say it right now. It's a bait click. Clickbait.
A clickbait? A bait click?
It's a bait click thing. I told you it's getting late.
Come back for a bait click. And actually, we're over on this 1 hour.
And so, I know them. And we always go a little over lately. But anyway, so see you guys in 3 weeks. That would be June. I believe it's the 12th. Let me double check here. That would be June 12th, Saturday, 10 o'clock. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Live long and prosper.